Welcome, everyone. I am Dr. Dream. You are here for the It's All Good Circle. Today is Monday, August 18th, and it 2025. And it warms my heart to welcome you to this. Before we started recording, I was sharing that I'm in the feels, which is I'm deep in my emotional body. I'm not sure exactly what happened. We moved from Coeur d'Alene this morning and arrived this afternoon in West Glacier, Montana. It is beautiful here. Um, I don't know how I'm going to get through today. This is why I have Phil and Destiny, where I just say, okay, take it over while I just sob a little bit. I'm moving energy. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Um, before we start with the main presentation, as it were, I want to talk to you about something, and that is not a lot of people know this about us, but Stephanie and I give away a fair amount of money each year to people to help them. We're very blessed, particularly when we're on tour. And so, one of my things was always to give away quite a bit, and we find GoFundMe campaigns online, and we find friends of ours that need help. And it goes along with my thing that no matter what's going on for any of us, we all have something to give to someone else. And it's not always money, sometimes I always say sometimes it's just a smile and a hug, or expressing gratitude. Those things are huge. um, it's one of the reasons that the It's All Good Circle is here, is to be in loving support of each other as we go through what we go through in life. But tonight, I have a request. There is a gentleman that Stephanie and I have been sending money to very consistently for the last year or so. We've sent him a coat, a sleeping bag. He lives in a tent city in California. He's got cancerous sarcoma, a big cancerous growth on his back. He can't really do much at this point, and he reached out to me. We had known each other years ago, and I felt his journey. So I asked Phil and Steph, or Phil and Destiny, before we started, if it was okay to do this, and they both said, yeah, I think it's probably okay to do this. So I'm going to ask anyone that wants to reach out to me after this, if you've got $5, $10, $20, $100, I'm trying to help him at a little bit bigger level right now. And I'm gathering a group together, or the universe is, of angels to assist. And so most of you here know I don't ever ask for anything for myself. And we give a lot, and so I'm just putting it out there. I don't want to give too much more information because he doesn't know that I'm doing this. He does watch our videos. But if you feel so called, you all know how to reach me. And I can give you his Venmo. Nothing goes through us. And yeah, let's just leave it at that. All right. Wow. Thank you. And thank you. And if it's not the right time for you, don't feel bad. I don't expect anything, and there's no judgment or anything around any of this. I know that we've all got families and expenses and rent and all the stuff going on. So, if you don't reach out to me, it's not going to be like, oh, so and so, like, what's wrong with them at all. I get it. I absolutely, totally get it. All right, we're just going to move right along here. This is week 3 of our Raise Your Frequency, Own Your Power. And it's been great. Over the past 2 weeks, we've explored what frequency is, how to elevate and protect it. And so today it's natural that the talk brings us to what happens when you consistently live from a high frequency state. What happens when you're clear, connected, and empowered. And at this level, if you've gone through the process, if you're working on it, if you're asking yourself those questions, if you're doing the mind work that we put out there, or if you're just taking the time to go over stuff in your mind, something beautiful starts to unfold and your personal power begins to align with your greatest purpose. Okay, your personal power begins to align with your greater purpose. And so living in high frequency naturally supports integrity. And I love this word, integrity. And one of the ways we can look at it is when your words and actions line up with your values. And you may have a lovely house and you may drive, some super sporty, sexy car and everything like that. But none of that is who you are. And integrity is a huge piece. Your authenticity, your integrity, and how you choose to show up in the world. And so we know when you're living in your integrity that there's less friction. You don't have to force anything. And instead of pushing, you're pulled forward by your purpose. And it's a beautiful place to be. Purpose isn't always a grand mission or career. Let's take a look at it and see it as the moment-to-moment embodiment of who you really are. People come to me and they say, I don't know what my purpose is in life. And it's like, it's right here in this moment. And when you live with presence, love, and intention,
was supposed to be here available for you today.
You're already living or fulfilling your purpose. And so power becomes service. When you realize that your elevated state impacts others, your actions become more intentional, more compassionate, and more creative. And, I've always said that what I know about my reality, what I know about being here as Dr. Dream, as Mark Peebler in this reality, is to be in service. 60 years later of living my life, what I have gleaned from all my experiences and everything is that and this is just me, that for me, my entire life is about being in service. And honestly, I don't want it to be about anything else. That is everything to me. So, questions. What lights you up? What is it that lights you up? What is it that gets you going? What is it that just you feel feeds your soul? And it's not a question to be taken lightly. This is one of these questions that tonight, when you're laying in bed, ask yourself and think about it and think about how you felt at different times in your life. And if you come up with an answer to this, dive a little deeper into it and say, how does it feel on the deepest level when I'm doing that, which I'm telling myself lights up my soul, feeds my soul? And then what makes you feel the most alive? Where, how, when? That feeling of just being alive and loving it. I'll never forget Miami years ago. It was 2018. We sold out our first really big event, 500 people. And they were turning away people at the door. As a sound healing practitioner, on one level, I never thought this would happen. But then I realized that I must have thought this could happen on some deeper level. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. That night, in that experience, and boy, it was challenging, because what we do, you know, lends itself to 50 or 60 people. We had never had to figure out the logistics of 500 people. And it was a special night because my mother was going into hospice in Southern California, and we were in Miami. And obviously she wasn't doing well. And before the event, you know, a week before the event, I called her and I said, we're going to cancel. We're going to come back and be with you. And she said, you can't do that. These people are counting on you. And it was a very emotional night. We also had a really dear friend of ours. Her name is Denise. And we had her. Denise was dealing with cancer. And we had her in like this royal throne chair just off the stage. And Denise had always been a mentor, a guide, a huge supporter of mine. And that night was one of the most amazing nights of my life, because it seemed to encapsulate so much of what my life was about and my purpose, and you know, the people that supported me and loved me, and standing up in front of 500 people, being me, no holds barred, just being authentic me, was pretty outrageous. The next question, how can I bring that energy into everything that I do? Excuse me, sorry. And so those questions, what lights us up? Where do we feel the most alive? How, when, what are we doing? And how can we bring that energy into everything we do? These are the questions that help us to anchor our purpose, and not as something far off, out of reach over there, but truly as a daily expression of our highest frequency. We are capable of so much. We are so powerful. And I think for some of us, it's maybe a little bit scary how powerful we are, that maybe we sometimes aren't prepared to own that about ourselves and about what that means in this reality. Now, life being life, we all know that life brings waves, challenges, loss, conflict, unexpected turns. These things are part of the human experience. But maintaining our frequency, our high frequency, doesn't mean avoiding discomfort. It means being conscious in it. Being conscious in, being present, not hiding from it, not taking another hit, having another cocktail, or acting out in some other way. It means feeling it, being there, and being conscious. There are some powerful tools for staying elevated in our challenges. And every single one of us have challenges. Every single one of us, life is, that's part of it. And so one of the ways is observation without attachment. Pay attention. We've talked about this. Pay attention. Notice when your energy starts to drop. And instead of judging yourself, how about this? Play a little game. Get curious. What triggered this? Is this emotion mine, or did I absorb it from somewhere else? Dive into it, whatever that means. Go deep with it. It's that introspection. It's that asking yourself those questions. Then on the other side of those questions are the answers that support you and open things up for you. One of the tools is to return to breath and presence. Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, I love it. She says, we're just one breath away from God. Someone said to me, God's always there. But, you know, if you remember, you're just one breath away from God, and all you need to do is slip into that breath and connect. You know, what happens in moments of stress, we don't breathe so deep. We get shallow breathing. We fight or flight kicks in, all of this. So the trick is to breathe deeply. Return to our bodies, like literally holding ourselves by using our breath. Even 30 seconds of intentional breath can interrupt the loop and bring us back into alignment. That's it. We're not talking about something long and drawn out. We're not talking about, oh, I've got to go to my sacred place, this, that, and the other. Your sacred place is right here. How cool that the lungs and the heart are so close to each other. We talked, I think it was last week, about frequency hygiene. You know, we don't just take one shower for the year and that's it. We don't just clean up our frequency once and think that's going to last all year. We don't brush our teeth once. So just like brushing our teeth, hopefully that's a daily activity for all of us. It's good to clean our energy daily. We talked last week about smudge. We had the Palo Santo stick. There's sound, if we're in the EE system, particularly the salt baths, the detox salt baths, nature walks, or you know what? Just simply intention. Just simply intention. This is the thing. You are so powerful. We don't need to make it more difficult than it needs to be. And we ask ourselves, what do I need to let go of right now? What is it important for me to let go of right now? And then on the other side of that is, what can I do to raise my energy in this moment? And truly, just by function of asking yourself those questions, you're reminding yourself how powerful you are. You know, so much is on the other side of the question when we take it to heart and we go deep with it. We have to remember that high frequency isn't perfection. It's awareness, choice, self-compassion. Every time you choose to realign, you strengthen your power because you're bringing yourself back to your power. So of this part of the discussion, let's go into what is possibly the most beautiful part. Let's call it your ripple. You have no idea. I have had thousands of people in front of us. And every time I share from the very core of who I am, the authentic me, and then they leave. And we're, you know, when we're on tour, we're already on to the next place. We have no idea of the ripple that we create. We have no idea what touching one person, how that expands. But that's truly what we're here for. And it's that thing, that smile, that unexpected compliment that you give someone. I was at breakfast brunch in Coeur d'Alene yesterday. And the owner of the restaurant, I was in the middle of a conversation with Destiny's fiance. And it was, I was animated and everything. And she came up and she interrupted me. She stopped me from talking and she said, you know, you were here, you've been here a couple times recently. And she said, I noticed this holster, you know, the holster that I wear. I showed it last week with all the tools on it. She said, I didn't say anything when you were here last, but I just want you to know that is so cool and I really love it. And she said, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to share that with you. Yeah. And she was walking away and I turned around and I said, you can interrupt me anytime you want to share a compliment with me. And my energy, already high in that moment because I was interacting with people I love, even expanded more. But the people at the grocery store, the people at the post office, the people that maybe in the past we just have a fleeting whatever with, we don't even notice, we take them for granted. We're really present in the moment. Maybe we're called to say, you know, wow, that whatever looks fabulous on you. That way that you are, your smile. You always smile that big. My goodness, that's amazing. Have a great day. I love your smile. See you later. It's an act of love. And you have no idea what impact that has. And you may never know. But I always tell people when we do that, the first thing we're going to feel is an expansion within ourselves
Right.
because it's not about us. And then we're going to know that it is having an impact. Again, we're never really going to know. I'm fortunate that I have people, because of being public, I have people come back to me and say, you have no idea. Stephanie and I went to a music festival in Las Vegas, in EDC, Las Vegas, like crazy, over 100,000 people, electronic dance music. It's just a scene that we don't dip into very much, but it's such a spectacle. We went one year. And we were having a great time, as Stephanie and I always do. And we were walking through the vendors. And I said, Stephanie, oh, look, here's a healing bowl. And this girl, maybe 19 years old, comes up to me and she says, are you Dr. Dream? Now, you could have freaking knocked me over with a feather in that moment, because here we are at something that's out of our norm, kind of like everyone's our people, but this isn't our scene, really. So I was like, yes. And she said, you came to, and I can't remember what city it was, maybe a city in Florida. I can't remember, Florida or Texas. And she said, it was years ago. I was a young teenager. And you changed my life, what I experienced, and I've become a sound healer.
Oh.
And I never would have known. We're just walking through the vending space at this crazy festival with so many people. I teared up. I was just like, you just don't know. Again, I'm fortunate because people do come back to me and share things. But when we raise our frequency, we don't just change our own individual experience. We change the field around us. People feel that. There's a book called Power versus Force, David Hawkins. And there's the scale of human consciousness. And it goes from 0 to 1,000. Now people have expanded it beyond 1,000, this, that, and the other thing. It doesn't really matter. It just reminds us that there's a scale of human consciousness. And in this scale, under 200, you were in force.
Mm.
And if you were over 200, you're in power. And he came up with these equations where one person being in the energetic, on the scale of love, which I think was at 500, can offset the energy of, it was millions of people below 200. And it was wild because a very small percentage of the population comes in to have that frequency, David Hawkins said. And yet, because it's exponentially so powerful, it impacts the entire humanity. And it was stated that you don't need to go out and do anything. If you can sit in your home, your cave, whatever, and just be in that frequency and radiate it out to humanity, you don't need to see anyone, you don't need to do anything, and you're changing the world. And in my talks in the past, I always talk about that because that is empowerment. That's available to each of us. People used to say to me, oh, you Dr. Dream, and I muscle test and I got the pendulum and all this, and I could ask and find out where I was on the scale of on this scale of Hawkins, but I was never interested because I always felt like it would create division, and then I'd be checking other people and this and that. All my takeaway from that was each of us can make a difference to humanity, no matter who we are, no matter where we are, based on what we are allowing, what we are connecting ourselves to, where we are with, like what I just talked about, our integrity, connecting with our values and actions and everything. I mean, that's it. You don't have to like go out and be do 96 sound healing events. You don't have to, you know, write amazing books. You don't have to do any of that. You just need to be you, be in your power, and know that that is changing things. Your energy affects your home, your relationships, your community, and even people you've never met. Think about how a calm, grounded person can change the tone of a room. Or as I said before, one loving act can uplift a stranger's entire day. That's power. And we all have that available to us. And it goes back to something I said before, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what your challenges are, you've got something for someone else. Don't ever forget that, because we get lost in our own murk and mire. And we call this quantum leadership. You're not here to control others, you're here to radiate. And let that be the impact. I always say I'm not here to teach anyone anything, and the things that I share are things that many, many others have shared over millennia. Back to when humanity first started asking ourselves, why are we here? What is our purpose? But I'm here to be a reminder for each of us. And right now in this moment, I'm reminding you how freaking powerful you are. And that if you're not owning it, great. I totally understand that. Leverage this talk and step into it. Step into owning your power and see what shifts. See how that expands your life. Your frequency is your contribution to this incredible reality that we all share. When you embody peace, you create peace. When you live in joy, you remind others it's possible. When you shine your light, you give others permission to do the same. Can't tell you how many times after my talks I've had people come up to me and say, oh boy, if only I could be my authentic self. But you know what? They wouldn't be able to handle me at work, at church, at whatever, my husband, whatever. No, they couldn't handle it. And I always answered the exact same way. I'm like, what if all those people that you think couldn't handle you being your authentic, powerful self were just waiting for you to step into that, because it gives them permission to do it? And then I'd look them right in the eye and say, and if we're wrong, you can't go wrong being your authentic, powerful self. So it doesn't matter. If they're not waiting for permission, you can't go wrong being true to you. So we ask ourselves, what kind of ripple am I creating? How can I intentionally broadcast? We're broadcasting our energy without even knowing it. We're like a radio signal. How can we intentionally broadcast love, clarity, and strength into the world today, in this moment? Not like, oh, tomorrow I could do this, or like when I get this certification or learn this or achieve this, then I can do it. No, I'm talking right now. How can you do this right now? And this is the path of owning your power, not just for you, but for the whole of humanity. Wow. So, Destiny, Phil, this is before we step up to have everybody else share, you two as the other 2/3 of the foundation of this It's All Good circle. Where are you at with all of this? We've spent now, this is our 3rd week. You guys shared some really powerful stuff last week. What do you got for us this week? Phil, you've already unmuted. Are you going first?
I guess so.
Chomping at the bit. Chomping at the bit. Go ahead, Phil.
Okay, so I we talked the other night and listening to what you've said, I've sort of changed a little bit of my feelings on what I might discuss. Last week I discussed filters and how we handle what other people tell us and what we don't tell others and all of that. Tonight I'll touch a little bit on filters being yes and no. I have at times struggled with this notion that maybe I should say no more often. Okay, because sometimes you just feel a little bit overstressed because you're too open and too available to too many. But I'm going to change that a little bit, and I'm going to change that to allowing it to be okay to say yes. And the reason that I say that is when we say yes and when we do things for others is when we're most powerful. And, yes, we understand and we know the word no. We can use it because there are times that we have to discern and we have to be able to say no. But understanding within ourselves and within understanding and agreement with ourselves that we can be happy to say yes and do things for people in a way that maybe we haven't even done to this point. Maybe we can do more. And maybe we can be, that extra person that we know we can. And so that's, to me, kind of what the world is asking for right now, is how we can say yes to helping humanity be better at what we're all trying to do. And so that, I'm going to leave it at that, but I want other people to touch base on that idea of filtering, yes, understanding no, but really be empowered to say yes. So thank you.
I'm not going to let you leave it at that. I want you to knock the ball out of the ballpark right now and tell us, how is this showing up for you? I want to hear your story with this. Great theory, and I love it. But share your story with this. How is this playing out in your life? What makes this real for you?
Okay, so we've been blessed with a lot of things, and like many of us in different ways, or all of us. And we own another business, and we bought the energy enhancement system on a whim. We just bought it and put it in our house, and we said we're going to let people come and myself and my wife have had this discussion about how we do this and and because we're very, very busy with what we do. Now I've been allowing people to come, and I've been working with several people that can't afford me. Okay. And what I mean by can't afford me is they can't afford to pay what it would take to do what I'm doing. And I'm perfectly fine with it, and it's great. And boy, what an impact and what a blessing to work with these people, and how I'm growing with, with what I'm doing, and learning more about myself and others, and how to work with others. And so Mary said to me the other day, she said, well, maybe we'll never charge for what we're doing because God will just take care of us. And so I'm like going, okay. and I mean, it's that's the ultimate yes, of letting everything go and letting God. So that's, yeah, there we
I
have it.
appreciate that. That's big. That's really big, because that's even stepping out of allowing yes, because and stepping into trust and faith and an understanding that is bigger than most people are willing to step into. I appreciate you sharing that.
Let me
And
expand on that. Let me
please.
expand on that a little more. So we develop, or should or could develop, a life plan. Okay. Like, where are we going? What is GPS? GPS, you put in some coordinates and it might tell you how to get there. And the universe doesn't know how to present to us how to get somewhere if we don't tell it where we want to go. Okay. So manifestation is a fulfillment of a life plan. So as we manifest, we're manifesting things to bring into our life's plan. And so it's just kind of an interesting concept to me about, I've been manifesting all this time and I didn't even know what the hell it was. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going, oh, wow, we can actually do that. So, and I thank Daryl for that, because she's introduced the tools to take it from A to Z. And so that's just a cool thing that we have. Thank you.
It's a good circle doesn't stop this week. I'm looking forward to updates on just what you shared with us in future discussions. And I applaud you, and thank you for sharing, and thank you for letting me not allowing me to not let you stop, and opening the door for a little bit more. And I should just add right here that I love you and Mary. So
Thank you.
Destiny, talk to
Hello.
us.
So I think that that our personal power comes from understanding that our uniqueness and who we are is our purpose. Nothing pops into existence without having a purpose, and each of us is completely unique, and we are here to be truly authentically who we are. And I think a lot of um, my ability to stand in my personal power also comes from the belief that I live in a friendly universe and that God is there for me. I trust and believe that everything happens for a reason, and I don't always understand the reasons, but I nothing has ever happened in my life that I couldn't handle, that I couldn't move forward with. And then also realizing throughout time that I've never been alone. No matter what I've gone through or how much I felt like I was alone, somebody always showed up. Thank you. And so a few examples that I have of times that where I felt like I was able to stand in my power in my life. The first one that that comes to mind was during the whole COVID time. I had a really good job, and I was living in California at the time, and a lot of businesses were going through a thing where they wanted all of their employees to be vaccinated with the new COVID vaccine. And my company decided to go right along with that. And so they told us all that we had to get it, and I was completely against it. And so I went to my boss and I was like, "Hey, this is my stance on this. Does this mean that you need my 2-week notice right now, or what do you want to do?" And I was a pretty important person in the company for them at the time. And my boss said to me, he says, "I need you to get me paperwork," which I read between the lines and figured that out. And I could have, in that moment, I could have just straight up quit my job. I could have been freaking out, but I had to just state my position and, found a way forward through it. Also, in the last couple of years, when I went to go move into the off-grid cabin that I lived in for a little over a year, I had people tell me that I needed to make sure that I didn't get stuck there, and that it wasn't a good situation for me to be raising my family there and stuff. But it was what I wanted to do. And even though I loved and respected the people that gave me that advice, I believed that that was what was right for me. And it enabled me to get out of the restaurant industry and to spend nights and weekends with my kids, uh, to be involved in cross country with my son, to do things that I previously hadn't been able to do. So while some people might have, looked at our life and thought that I wasn't making the right decisions, and in my life, I stuck by my decisions, and it made a huge difference for me. Also, being a single person, people would like to give me advice about like what it would take to find someone that was right for me. And, people with loving, good intentions would tell me that I could be more womanly, that I could shave more, that I could dress more like a girl, things like that. And I didn't want to be anybody other than who I was. If who I was wasn't going to be enough for there to be, someone who would appreciate for me for who I was, then it wasn't worth it for me. It wasn't worth it for me to change who I am to find that, and I ended up finding someone who is even more weird and out there and thinks differently in society than I do. And it's absolutely amazing. And recently, since I've been listening to Lucas Mack, he has this song called Love Over Fear. And he says over and over in the song, "I choose love over fear always in every way." And um, that's become something that I've started to use to make my choices and to stand authentically in life, to choose love over fear. And so another really big thing has happened in my life recently, and I unexpectedly and accidentally got pregnant with my new man. And it was, I immediately was going to choose the fear option because neither of us we talked about this. We were both happy with not having any more kids. And I was afraid of recommitting to that. I was afraid of doing this in a new relationship. I was afraid of how it would, change my kids' world, afraid of how it would change my my world with my friendships. And I talked to him about it, and he said, I don't want you to do that because you think that that's what I expect of you. He's like, I might not have wanted kids, but sometimes God knows better than I know what I want, and he might have better plans for me. And you have to make the decision that's going to make you happy in the end. And I will stand by you and support you no matter what you choose. And so I really thought about it, and I thought about how I would feel in both futures. And in the future where I decided that we were going to grow our family, that's where the love was, and that's where the fear wasn't. Like, that's all of the reasons why I didn't want to do it were all fear based. And so in the end, I decided that I'm going to grow my family again, even more.
Wow, Destiny. thank you for sharing that. That's big. And that's big. I want to bring up one other thing. 4 days ago, there was a fire, and you and your beloved and the kids all had to evacuate the property. And Stephanie reported back to me a conversation that she had with you. And it was all about what would happen if the property was gone, if the dwellings were burnt and everything else. And it was the most positive, embracing it as an opportunity. It was no victim stuff. And I was just like, wow, you just had that conversation with Destiny, and that's where they're at right now. They're places, basically in that evening, I think it was Friday evening or whatever, it was surrounded by fire. You guys weren't allowed to go back there. The winds were picking up and everything else. And your perspective in that moment was all about opportunity and what the beautiful possibilities were, not the downside of all of it. And I was just like, wow, there you go again, Destiny, inspiring me. It's showing who you really are in a time of, WTF, when most people would just be reaching for whatever their drug or alcohol of choice is and sinking down to the lowest common denominator. You and Josiah, your beloved, stepped up in this conversation and said, oh, well, here's what we can do, if this happens. And it was like I was blown away. I haven't been able to share that with you, and you maybe didn't know that conversation had been shared with me, although Stephanie shares everything with me. And so I just wanted to put that out there, because that's who you really are, and the universe got a little bit wacky. Obviously, you got through it. Your property was untouched. You all did some energetic bubble that completely didn't touch your property. But if it had, who you are this isn't going to knock us down. This is going to give us an opportunity to rise up. And that's what we're talking about tonight, being in your power.
Yeah. And the breathing thing actually was a big thing. When I got the message, I was at work and he says, there's a fire really close. I need you to get back here and help us get what we need as soon as you can. And as I'm driving home, there's just the sky is just full of smoke. It looks like it's coming from everywhere. And my heart is just pounding. And I'm like doing my best not to speed. I'm like, just breathe deep breaths, like get there safely. And like my instinct was to like beg God, like don't let anything bad happen, and I thought about that and I was like, that's not the right thing to ask. And so instead I shifted and I said, I trust you. I trust you. And I know that whatever's going to happen, it's going to be for our highest and best. I know that whatever happens, it's for the best of the future. The universe works in funny ways. You don't just get from point A to point C by going to point B. Like it's a twisty, windy path, and all of the little details that you could never guess are necessary to happen get you to where you need to go. And so I was just remembering that, and I just said, you know what? I trust you. I know that you'll be there for me, and it'll all be all right. We'll do whatever's next. We'll do that next. So that was a really interesting experience.
Yeah, interesting to say the least. I wanna, before we open up the open forum for everyone, I want to thank you and Phil for keeping it real with us tonight. That's everything. We have no idea what that ripple effect will be for any of us based on what you shared, and I just want to thank you. And now, this is being recorded, so this all is public. We don't cut out the free form anymore. Because I think there's a lot of beauty in everyone sharing. So we open it up. We've got time, love that our timing is so spot on right now, and that we can have a discussion, and you know, that's what the It's All Good Circle is about, for us all to come together and share and hold space for each other, and be that. So it's now an open forum. You all are capable of unmuting yourselves. If someone starts talking at the same time you do, one of you acquiesce and allow the other one to go. And yeah, who wants to share?
See, Dr. Dream,
Yes.
I just want to let you know that that's why I went first.
You're good. Good strategy. So Vienna has her hand raised, which is kind of a cool feature. I've never quite seen that in here. Go ahead, Vienna. Let's hear.
One of my favorite little stories was someone relaying. They had a little visit to the library of heaven, and the front desk angel there said, I've been asked to show you something. And so they brought out their book of life experiences and laid it down and opened to earlier that day. And it said, let's call her Karen, smiled at Susie in the grocery store, and then ran and got Susie's book. And Susie's opened to the same, you know, they opened to Susie's book to the same day and time. And it said, received a smile from Karen in the grocery store. And then with that ripple, with that pebble drop, Susie then went out and did a kind deed for Matthew out in the parking lot. And then Matthew, you know, went on and did something for Kevin. And what was cool, not that we needed to do this, but in the economy of heaven, in the math, all of that credited back to Karen. You know, so it was just, it's just the coolest thing. The circle folds back in on itself. You know, that touched me some years back. So dropping a pebble.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate you sharing that. Who's next? I know Daryl's chomping at the bit. Do you wanna step in? Have we got
no.
Susie
How
also
about
with-
Susan? Susan wants to share. That's good.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Thank you.
You're muted.
First of all, Destiny, your story really just went right through me. And I find that I am in my power when I allow myself to really care for myself. And because then when I'm full with myself, and it is God, it's not me. It is me, yes and no. It's all consciousness and sacred imagination. And when I stay in my studies and my meditations, you're right, I don't have to go anywhere. I can just sit here and be the love for myself, and it radiates out into the neighborhood, and out into the world. And then of course, you know, I'm very, I've been living alone for a very long time. And so when I go out, it's like an adventure, even if it's just to the grocery store. And so I have my ways of really tuning in to people and smiling and complimenting, and it's very enjoyable to me. to do that because I spend a lot of time here, which I love. You know, I love all the animals and everything. My writing, sometimes I'll be writing to one person and then somebody from Ireland will write back to me and express how they thought that I was writing to them. And it's funny because all those writings that I wind up like really zeroing in on a person, on one person, I always think, well, I don't know if I should, it's like this is all kind of, I'm like directing this somewhere rather than having it just be downloaded to me. And then I'll hear from people from different parts of the world commenting on that writing. And every single time that happens, it blows my mind because the ones where I'm just downloaded, it's like I may not hear anything, but the ones that are really zeroing in on somebody, it's like then I hear all kinds of things, and it's I love that I am stepping more into my power. There was a time where I wouldn't be able to do this, speak in a room of people that were like me, that had a similar kindred spirit. I just wouldn't. It would be easier to just sit back and listen to everybody else. But basically, we all give each other permission to step out and step in and then step out, which is great. I love that. Thank you.
Not only are we like you, but we like you. Okay. Daryl?
Well, first of all, Destiny, congratulations on bringing a new being into the world. They're probably from another planet with angelic roots coming through you guys. I mean, that relationship you have is the purest of it. I'm sitting here going, boy, I wish I was a handful of decades younger and found one of those kind of guys, because that's fantastic. Wow. So good. Congratulations on that too. And your sharing was off the chart. It's off the chart. And thank you. It was so beautiful. And Phil, there's several things. I love you, Phil. You know that. And but I would love that what you were sharing is like the idea of saying yes. And because we're all caregivers of humanity. That's why we all get along so well, because we haven't met others in the world that are like us. I had that most of my life until I got to meet the energy enhancement system owners and Dr. Sandra and Dr. Jenny and these people that I just wept and still do of gratitude for being able to be with others that are here on the same mission I've been on my whole life, but doing it alone. So but what I've learned from maintaining my own mission, I would say, would be my fundamental, I would guess, intention is that we're here to uplift others, fundamentally uplift others, like Dr. Dream was talking about, someone in the restaurant, at the post office, all of that. And so, and what I personally learned from that, and then also have when I do any kind of interacting with others, possibly in a coaching manner or just a friend encouraging or whatever, that I call it self-esteem in a nanosecond, because the moment you are intending to uplift another human, the moment that intention is launched from your soul, in essence, that is the essence of your authentic self. Right there. That's what authentic self is, as a contributing being to make a difference in the world. And so, I've noticed that when anybody contributes some upliftment for another, whatever's going on with them has completely transformed in a moment. If you don't mind, would like to take a moment and share something I heard on a DVD that was done by Louise Hay, and it was called You Can Heal Your Life, like the book she did. And it was a story told by a guy who was a coach for people. And he got a phone call from someone he was coaching who said, I'm just calling to say goodbye because I can't bear this another moment. And I'm ending my life today. So thank you for trying, but I'm done. And so the coach guy said, and this is on this DVD, the story, that firsthand story, he said, where are you standing in your home right now? And he said, I'm in the living room. He said, so with me on the phone, please go to the window and look out the window and just look around and see if there's anyone that you can see could use your help. And he said, well, the woman next door is pretty old and she has a lot of leaves and some newspapers on her porch. And he said, okay, so set the phone down and I'll stay here and wait for you, and go next door and sweep up the leaves and the papers. But don't ring the bell. Don't let anyone know you're there. Just do that and then come back. I'll be waiting for you. And this man said, this will make me cry. The man said when his client came back that he was a completely different person. You see, the authentic self is designed divinely to contribute to others. So whatever condition we're in, the moment we do that, we activate that divine power source. And so, yes, to speak to what Phil was bringing up that's so wonderful, that's a every time yes. Because serving other people isn't exhausting if there's no condition. And so as long as we contribute because we feel like it to uplift another, it has no condition on it. That's the power source right there. And whatever's going on will change in a nanosecond when that happens. So thank you for letting me share that today. And thank you, Phil. Wonderful as always. Appreciated what you had to say and share. And who you be. Yeah.
We still have plenty of time. Who else would like to share a little something? Gail, go ahead there.
So I had an epiphany somewhere in either Phil or Destiny's just talk. I'm living my authentic life at church, at home, out in the world, in my spiritual life. I'm not living it at work. And it finally dawned on me that, I either have to shift how I'm thinking about it or I have to do something different. And I like the idea of actually looking at both futures and how do they feel. And so I'm going to, Destiny, you put that in such a way that my brain finally understood that. Thank you. Thank you very much. So the only area in my life that isn't working doesn't feel the way I want to feel is at work. And I think it's changeable. So that's it.
Thank you, Gail. Open forum. Oh my gosh, we're not going to sit here in silence for 15 more minutes, are we?
I'd love to share a note from, I've been listening to a podcast called The Art of Accomplishment, which accomplishment is not the focus of it. It sounds like bait, but I just love his the way he presents things, and what you were saying about our purpose just really resonated. So I'll send that to you, Dr. Green. in case you'd like
Excellent.
to check it out. The idea was we don't have to search our purpose. We don't have to go out and play hide and seek. It's not hiding from us. It's actually was with us as we were born, before we were born, however all that works. And it's been every day of our lives. And so the be here now, you can find it. And it'll be a recognition rather than discovery or seeking and finding. And so just coming to that place of being present here and now, and then recognizing it and it can be in everything we do. It'll be a thread throughout everything. And that I remember searching, thinking, where's my niche? What was I born for? And then when my human design description came up, it was like, oh my gosh, everything I do is related to that purpose. And it just warmed my heart. And it's like I could be making dinner, living my purpose. I can be taking out the trash, living my purpose. So just thrilled. Or sharing muscle checking with someone who hasn't had a way to help for divine help with decisions until they get to their really tuned in with their own intuition. And that's living in my purpose. So recognition. Love you all.
Love you, Vienna. Thank you. Vienna has played an amazing role for me. Not only has she been on a past podcast as a guest on the It's All Good show about muscle testing, but some things they say you're too close to, you're too emotionally attached to the answer, and it's best to have someone else who's not so attached to it muscle test. And I have called Vienna several times and said, hey, are you available right now? Could you check into this and see? I'm at a quandary. I think I could be controlling the answer that I get. And so thank you, dear. I have such deep love and appreciation for you and who you are and how you've shown up for me. So that's lovely. Thank you.
So may I share one more quick thing about this conversation?
Yes.
And so, working with a lot of people that want coaching to sort out, I'm feeling this sort of rumbling inside, and I feel I have gifts and talents, and I don't know what they are, and I don't know what to do with them if they came out, and who would I don't know what my mission is, or what my destiny is, or what my purpose is. And so what I discovered over the course of time from my own personal growth, spiritual growth, was that when I intended to be of value, so I get up in the morning and say, my intention is to be of value to anyone who crosses my path. So in the moment of launching that intention goes into the universe, which is a very high frequency. And then what starts happening, unbeknownst to me, is that people start getting attracted to my life in such a way that to be of value to them, those gifts inside get activated and go, so it comes when it's being utilized. So it starts with attracting the people you can then be of value to. And that's remarkable. It's a remarkable situation when you start seeing, wow, because that your destiny unfolds, your purpose unfolds, the gifts wake up, you get to spend them, and then to Phil's point, every day is a yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll say something.
Hi, Catherine.
Hey.
Hi. I'm in listening to Vienna and Daryl and Destiny with the two futures. My purpose, I have felt that my purpose was if I could help one person not go through what I went through for 10 years with Lyme disease, then my purpose in life was fulfilled. And but there was conflict in that because I wasn't doing it as a very big money-making thing or anything like that. I just wanted to help people. I've been a nurse all my life. You just want to help people. And I am even now I need to have a little chat with Daryl, but my
Yes,
purpose
please,
and
yes, please.
my purpose and my mission is okay, my purpose is to help people as best I can, and I do a lot of bartering. I just had a 12-foot hedge cut down to 6 feet because that client can't afford to pay for what he and his wife's services they're getting. And I'm fine with that. But my purpose is to always continue to help people. Then I'm thinking, should I have a bigger purpose? Should I have okay, so I have my 4-unit system in my home. I would definitely love to go up to a 12 or even a 24. But then I'm thinking, okay, my purpose, do I need to have a bigger purpose and have a center somewhere else? Or if I had enough property, it would be perfect to do what Jen's doing. And if the township would allow it. But so my purpose is I don't want to get lost in feeling I need bigger and better or whatever, but I'm still meeting my purpose. But and just to see the ripple in what I am doing with it on the scale that I have it, which isn't huge, but there's a lot of ripple effect where, even chiropractors are saying, well, if Kathy's still in business, because I've been doing this a long time and I'll be 70. And they say, if she's still working, you need to go see her, that type of thing. So I know I'm meeting my purpose just because people are lost and they need answers, and I'm able to help them. And but now IRS is saying I need to decide whether it's a hobby or a job. And I'm fine with a hobby. I don't need much to live on. But so my purpose is being met. But was I meant for a bigger purpose or a bigger mission? And then Destiny thinking of, okay, the two futures. Do I keep it in my home and keep it small, or do I want to be outside of the home? And even if I did that, it's something because that I would like to teach people how to do it, and then they can take over. It's not something I don't need the power or the ego or all that. I just want people to learn and carry on, even what I do. But so my purpose, maybe I just spoke in circles, but amen, I'm done.
I just want to jump in. You talk about the ripple. You sent a person to me for one of
Yes,
my 20-minute phone calls, and I interviewed you, Catherine, just so
yes.
everyone knows, for my podcast. And in that interview, I fell into such deep respect for who you are, and the conversation we had was very impactful for me. But this is just my outside view. And then you send this person to have a 20-minute call with me. It's a client of yours.
Mhm.
And I got to hear from a client of yours who you weren't there, so she didn't have to
I hope it was
say,
good.
but beyond good. The
Oh,
respect
okay.
and everything mirrored everything that I felt from you. And I was, so wherever you land with the two futures and the purpose and everything else, you are in your purpose. And I heard that firsthand, validating what I felt in our conversation. And so I was a fan of yours before that phone call with the person, and I became a bigger fan. I've never shared this with you. I became a ripple effect. I became a bigger fan after hearing firsthand from one of your clients. And so yeah, I'm in such gratitude for each and every one of you, and such gratitude for you in this very moment right now, Catherine.
Well, thank you
Um,
for sharing that.
yeah,
I was
we're
wondering how it went.
I I thought the call went really well. I haven't heard back from them and
Yeah.
whatnot, and that's kind of the way it works for what I do. But it was that was one of the standout pieces of that interaction.
Hmm.
We've got just a little bit more time. Is there anyone else that's, you don't have, this is open forum. You get to share whatever you want to share. You get to say whatever you want to say. You get to wherever you're at. And it could be hey, I'm going through a hard time. I don't want to really talk about all of it right now, but this is a loving circle. Can you all send some love my way? It could be as simple as that. We're all here to support and love each other. No judgment, nothing, but just unbridled love and support in the It's All Good circle. So anyone else got anything? You all are going to
Oh,
make me fill in the
Sylvie,
gap. Go
Sylvie
ahead.
raised her hand, yes.
Yes.
Light Feather, I love that name, wow.
Hello. First of all, I want to say thank you for this beautiful circle. I didn't make it the first couple times. And then I saw that you set it up online, and I was curious. And I was going to YouTube and I was watching the circle, and I was so impressed. And by the other hand, it's a lot of stuff. I think it was the last call. You were talking about how to start the day with gratitude. And it's something what I'm doing every morning, the first thing. It's a part of journaling. And I have therefore a book with blank pages, not with the date on it. And every time I start with just writing the date and have it with spirals, and then I start to list up everything what I'm grateful for. And it feels for me that's the right thing to do. And there were so many other tools where I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm already so in tune. What I'm thinking, what I'm missing. Literally, I don't miss anything. And I think we all don't miss anything. We are all having everything already inside of us. And Catherine, follow your heart. You know already what you want to do. You know it already. And it's so beautiful to listen to every single one of you. I feel really touched. Thank you all for your presence, for your work. It's so amazing. And I mean, I offer my work all on donation base, why I believe that healing should be not only available for people who have a lot of money, because this is how it looks most of the time. And I know I fighted a long time against so many people. You are so stupid. Why you do this on donation base?
Oh, yeah.
But I believe in it. And I experienced a lot of different things that gave me big insights. That once I did ancestral healing and I received really a small amount of money. In the same week, I did another ancestor healing and I received a lot of money for it. And what it showed to me was that the first one was a person, she did start the very first time to work on herself. She didn't had even the feeling that she has any value. And it was interesting for me to see, and I understood that she can't value my work because she can't value herself. And it's the Hermetic law, what was showing me straight ahead, because the other person, she was already working on herself. She was pretty well on the road. And for me, this was like a really big gift, what is not to pay with money. This is an insight. And with each day, I experience new things, and it's like life is a miracle if we are open to see.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear heart. I was so pleased to see you show up here tonight, and you have been a really lovely energy in my experience, and you sort of float in and float out at times in my world, and I appreciate you floating in this evening and you sharing, and thank you so much. We are at the hour, and I would like to thank everybody. This is it's a dream for me. I'm like, pinch me right now, because this is to be able to hold space for all of us. I mean, I started this tonight in tears, sharing, and then to listen to all of you and your sharing, and Destiny and Phil, thank you so much for being, like the Trinity, the three of us holding this space and sharing, and then all of you that put in, and those of you that didn't say anything, just your energy being here. And one last piece, I opened this talking about a person that needs help. If you are able to donate 5, 10, 50, $100, whatever it is, please reach out to me. Not all of you were there at the beginning. He has cancer sarcoma. He lives in a tent city in Southern California. I've been sending money and clothes and stuff for over a year now, and we're trying to make a little bigger impact for him. And so I put it out to everyone. If you can't, totally understand, that's no judgment, nothing like that. If you can, small amount, large amount, whatever you want to do, it's not for me, and you reach out to me and I will give you his Venmo. And that's it. Thank you all so much for being here on the deepest level and the most expansive aspect of who I am. I love each and every one of you. And wow, what a fabulous Monday night. I'm so excited for next Monday, when our guest will be Daryl, and she will be sharing with us. And this woman carries wisdom that just can shift you in the moment. So you won't want to miss that. Feel free to invite someone to come and be here. And if you can't be here, remember that it's all available on the YouTube channel. I love you all. Have a really, really wonderful rest of your evening and the rest of your week. And remember, it's all good and you are loved. And let that ripple out in your world. Y'all take care now.
Thanks, Dr. Dream.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Good night,
Love
everybody.
you. Love
Good
you,
night.
love you. Thank you, Sylvie. Thank you, Sylvie. Thank
Yes,
you.
that was wonderful. That was beautiful.